We are looking at the art of Romare Bearden. Look at this beautiful collage. A collage is made by cutting and pasting pieces of paper from all over the place, like magazines, newspaper, sometimes even fabric. Look at these musicians playing their instruments. Romare Bearden could make his awesome musical scenes look any way he wanted. He can pick out his own background, his own peak musicians, and what instruments they play. We can see energy, and our eyes have a lot of work to do and enjoy looking all over his art. We're going to make a collage inspired by Romare Bearden. Hello, students. We are going to make a collage. A collage is art that is made from cut paper that is glued down nicely. I'm giving you a nice thick piece of white paper because our collage is going to kind of float in the center. Now, one good way to start a collage is with a nice big background piece. And since our collage today is inspired by the blues, I have a nice blob of blue paper. Notice I cut it from its original place to make it original and make it my own. It's still a big shape, but I have given it some curves. It's going to float in the middle of my paper. The other thing we're going to be looking for in our magazines and our worksheets today is instruments. We have been looking at blues bands and blues music, and we've been learning about a few of the instruments that a blues band would have, because we're going to be inspired by Romare Bearden and the blues for this project. Cut out some instruments. Notice I did something called a rough cut. I did a real messy cut just to get the instrument off the big paper, and then it's easier for me, once it's released from the big paper, to do that little fine detail cutting and cut off all the white around. So do a rough cut and then do your detail cuts. And then you gotta find some people. The people, anyone can be a musician. I am thinking about how the blues were completely created by African Americans. So I was looking more for African American musicians for my collage, but you know, and we saw that a musician looks like anyone. So you can find anyone you want to be a musician on your collage. It can be male, female, they, them. It can be any race. All right, so notice I'm not gluing anything. I'm just putting things down on the paper and seeing how they look. Notice how suddenly, even though the sizes aren't exactly right and things don't line up, putting the instrument with the person makes them look like a musician. You're also going to, besides a musician and an instrument, you are going to find something that looks like a place they would be performing music. It can be outside, it can be inside, it could be the ceiling or the floor, it could be the wall. You're going to cut out a piece of a place. So for this nice collage, I have a place, a blue blob, a musician, and an instrument. Can you add more musicians and instruments? Why, yes. Can you add more place background? Yes. But this can be a simple collage. Sometimes we have to stop what we're doing before it is finished. So use something like a folder or an envelope to store all of your parts carefully if you have to do that. Make sure you put your name on that folder. For these folders, I'm reusing them, so I'm erasing the old name and putting my name up in the corner. And when it's time to work again, you'll be able to take out your supplies and pick up right where you left off. So this is a glue stick. It's kind of the perfect thing for a paper collage because it won't make the paper too gooey. I'm going to use a special glue stick. It's clear, and it actually lets you take your paper back off if you change your mind. So I have about 5 minutes to peel off anything that I glue down if I want to change it. This is also where you can start to cut out maybe a smaller or a different area than you originally thought. And it's also where you can go back and find more parts for your collage. So I decided to give it kind of a curvy top. I'm placing the background or the place just to give a little indication that Maybe this is the kind of room the music is being played in. I'm gluing all over the back of my pieces so that they lay very flat and don't flake off in that annoying way. I'm taking my time and massaging things down because most of gluing is making sure that those two surfaces adhere, and that involves massaging. So I've got my musician, the instrument, the background, and a little indication of the feeling of the blues. Here again is an example by a real first grader. She found a great musician, an instrument, used her blue paper, and found a place. Enjoy making your collage.